Loading snacks.
What it do, Snackers, Snackettes, and Snack X's? Your boy Gage is here with the homie Marcus, and it is time for another episode of Spoiler Boys.
Spoiler boys.
Yeah, we're so officially here to talk about Mortal Kombat 2, 2026. Marcus, when did you see this?
I saw it Thursday night.
Okay,
So the
so
midnight show, quote unquote.
got it, got it. I did the same. I went to like a 5 o'clock showing Thursday, kind of day before. Took the whole family. Took my parents and two of my daughters to go check it out. Um, let's do this. Let's talk about, I guess, where our expectations were for this movie going in before we start to kind of really talk about the movie itself. Because I think that where your expectations are for this movie going in will have a very high effect on what you think of this movie and what your maybe personal ratings should be for it. So going into this, kind of where were you on it based on the first movie and just kind of your background with Mortal Kombat?
Well, from the first movie, it set my expectations like really low.
Okay.
So I went in with like, okay, I know they probably listen to the fans on certain aspects, and I
Hmm.
feel like certain things are going to be met, but then like it's a live action video game movie, so I don't expect it
Hmm.
to actually be like top tier, top notch. So I just go in with an open mind, just like expect to have a good time, but I'm not expecting like the Odyssey or something.
Okay, well, for sure. I mean, I don't think that Mortal Kombat, in terms of story and lore, even in the games, is like Odyssey level, but there is a lot of lore and story that happens in the games that I think is um I personally think is more than serviceable, especially starting around like MK9 when they really started like putting the story mode in a way where when you play the game, the story mode kind of forces you to swap characters to see perspective. And it isn't just like, oh, well, the story is that technically you play as this character, and if you win as that character, well, then that's the story. You know what I mean? Like that's whoever you beat it with, that's the ending of it or whatever. Um, my expectations for this movie going in were, I would say, pretty low to some extent. I didn't I wasn't really a fan of the first reboot from like 2023, but I tried to give some leniency for that film with the understanding that like they were writing and filming and doing things kind of under COVID, like,
Yeah.
following that run. And so I tried to give them a little bit more leniency as far as that was concerned, and took some of the things that I felt like weren't great about that movie and let them, I guess, kind of get away with some things that I probably would have knocked them for otherwise, right? However, um, I was not a fan of Cole, of the new character. I certainly felt like there was no reason for Cole to exist or to be there. Like, the story in and of itself of Mortal Kombat has enough going on and works well enough without having to introduce a character that doesn't literally exist in the Mortal Kombat lore at all. Giving some leniency for, again, just being like, hey, this is, it's them trying to, making another run at it, and considering that this is the second time we're doing Mortal Kombat as movies, even though we're like 30 years removed from those first films. Um, let's see where they go with this. And my thought on it was maybe they're really gonna try to take this character, this Cole, who has this lineage to Scorpion, and actually introduce Cole in the games. You know what I mean? Like that maybe would have allowed me to give a little extra for that. But I didn't I wasn't a fan of it. So I was very interested to see where they were gonna go with this because with them leaning so heavy into Johnny Cage and all the trailers and so forth, preparing for this movie, um, I just thought to myself, maybe they're just like gonna act like that joint didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like they're just gonna leave it alone. Um, and you know, I I'm again my expectations were low, and I personally feel like my expectations were met. So
Same,
before we
same.
start digging
What
into like specifics or whatever, like what are your overall thoughts? How do you feel about this movie? Give me a score and kind of where you are on it right now before we have a discussion so we can see if that changes at all at the end of our discussion.
I thoroughly enjoyed the movie for what it was. It definitely
Okay.
exceeded the first movie in my opinion. Like you could
Okay.
not watch the first movie and be perfectly fine just watching the second one and enjoying
Sure.
yourself.
Sure.
I gave it personally. I gave it like a 6.5, 7. Like it's
Okay.
like I feel like it would be wrong to give it like an 8 or like if I like included like nostalgia, then like yeah, 8. Like there's a lot of nostalgic moments in the film that can definitely give it make my score an 8. But realistically, it's like a 7.
All right. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm at like a 4 for this movie. Truthfully, I think this movie's terrible in some of the best ways. Um, and I really think it's where your expectations are for this movie. I think this is a bad movie. Um, and some of the things that I feel like are bad about it are unforgivable, even from a like, well, we're just going for like kind of campy, kind of making fun of itself, not taking itself too seriously position. Um, so I definitely think that there are things in this that could have and should have been done better. And I'm gonna start by saying starting with the cast. I think I absolutely hate this cast. I don't think I like anybody in this movie in their roles except for Kano. I think that's it. I don't
Wait,
really
so
like Carl Urban as Johnny Cage. Kano was
okay,
Kano saved this movie. This sort of be like a 1 for me if it was Kano was hilarious. Hilarious. All the one-liners, all of the zingers. I think there may have been one miss. There might have been one. I was like, ah. But everything else, when Slim was on screen, he saved the movie to me personally. And I'm big on I come from kung fu flicks, bro. Like that's where I live and breathe. Like I come from that. And this only
um,
lives up to like really good martial arts films, kung fu flicks in one fight. And that's the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight. That's it. Every
yeah,
other fight in this joint,
you can definitely
they're
tell
slow
like martial artists who are acting and then actors who train who
or
are
martial arting.
yeah, you can definitely tell like in the film
Yeah,
um that which I expect like when I went in it was just like I know like Paul Urban isn't going to like act like he's not that type of like martial arts heavy guy, so I'm not
no,
expecting him to like be that. But for Johnny Cage, I know he's going to act as if he's acting like Johnny Cage in the movie.
sure. Which look, Johnny Cage notwithstanding, I'm not a big fan of Johnny Cage, and I'll be honest, I don't really like where the story of Mortal Kombat went with kind of like Johnny Cage being like the actual like savior or whatever in Mortal Kombat slash his daughter or slash Sonya, but whatever. Um, the Look, I think Carl Urban's a decent actor. I like him in a lot of things, and truthfully, a lot of the things I like him in are kind of campy, sort of cheesy, kind of over the top movies. So immediately seeing him was like, well, that kind of meets my expectation. At the same time, I also feel like he's too old to be playing this part. Like he's too old to be Johnny Cage amongst the rest of these actors and for what this timeline is. And I feel like the story itself is very disjointed because it does kind of it is a tale of two plot stars, if you will. It is Katana's story while also being Johnny Cage's story, and Cole is a complete afterthought. So again, it was kind of like people hated it, so we just gonna deal with that. And so I was cool with it. Like
Not gonna touch on that topic. It's just like going forward. Like he's not
they
the
got rid
chosen
of
one.
Slim. They did it early. Nobody liked them. Perfect. You know what I mean? They got rid of them
My
early.
theater cheered when that happened. So
100%.
like
Hey, listen. One of the best parts of that movie is literally him being swept off the side of the joint with Shao Kahn's hammer, just his body just falling. Like, yeah, like I'm with it because we don't like Slim. And for real, here's the thing: they did it. Here's what I kind of appreciate about what they did, making him the main character of the first movie, and basically saying like he's the chosen one, right? For him to step into battle with Shao Kahn, who is clearly the big bad of this movie, he beat him. Like he won that fight. And the only reason why he lost is because Shao Kahn cheated and became immortal. Otherwise,
nah,
tournament's over.
if my, like from the games, like he has God armor, so none of that would have worked anyway. So it's kind of following the game statue. It's
It
just like,
does.
all right, round two, like you gotta go back in and finish it, and he couldn't go into round two, and he got swept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, even the rest of the cast, when he didn't show, like, they didn't even realize he ain't come back. Like, they were doing all kinds of other things. They're just like, where's Cole? And everybody's like, oh man,
Oh,
like oh man, and we just moved on. You know what I mean? It wasn't even really
like
devastating.
damn, but they was like Kung Lao. He was just like, oh my god, what do you like? What? Like I had to
It
kill him.
was
No way.
yeah.
For real? You had to kill him again? He died again? What?
Look, I mean, look, this story is trash, but because there's so many holes in the story, I'm sitting in the joint and I'm thinking, all right, so the plan is to have the amulet take the power of a god, which will be Raiden, who Raiden can't be killed because he's a god, but they slit his throat and took his power anyway. So he's dying, but he still does have his god powers somehow. He's opening portals, and for some reason he's still alive. Something's making him float, and his throat is slit, but he can still talk, even though it's a whisper. And but that still makes Shao Kahn immortal. So somehow Shang Tsung is able to steal the godness, not just steal souls, but steal the godness from Raiden. I don't know, dog. The story doesn't work, but
I
whatever. It
think
gets us from
like
the beginning to the end.
so like from my knowledge is that even though Raiden's a god and
Mhm.
he's immortal, quote unquote immortal, I feel
Mhm.
as though Quan Chi with his resurrection magic on Kung Lao did something to where he could like damage Raiden enough or to get the essence for the amulet, or maybe it's the amulet's properties that allow you to damage gods because it's basically Shinnok in Shinnok's amulet, which is Shinnok, which is an elder
Right,
god, which is
right.
above Raiden. So elder god trumps god. So he's holding the amulet. The amulet gives him power to take down a god. I guess that's the MacGuffin of the movie.
Hey, listen,
It's the
bro, I
MacGuffin of the
don't hate
movie.
any of what you're saying, but none of what you're saying exists in the movie. Like, you're just like, if you look, like, again, like, you're talking about Shinnok. Shinnok's not in this movie. So, like, if you come in and you're watching this movie and you're not familiar with Mortal Kombat, you haven't played the games, you're just like, oh, Mortal Kombat, Carl Urban from The Boys, Carl Urban from Dread. Like, I'm gonna go see this because they're showing off the fact that Carl Urban is in this movie being Johnny Cage. And I don't know what a Johnny Cage is, but I know Mortal Kombat and I know that they have the fatalities or whatever. So I'm gonna go see this. There's no Shinnok, you know what I'm saying, in this movie. Like, it doesn't exist. So while I love that you're able to kind of force feed a story that isn't given to you in the
Yeah,
movie into the movie,
it's definitely like if you're a fan of like the lore and like the games and the comics and stuff of it, then you definitely know like all right
sure,
how this is working is just like it's not verbally
you know
said
how
in
it's
the movie,
possible.
but
You don't know
yeah,
how
you
it's
know how.
working, but you know how it's possible. You know what I mean? Like, you get some, like, all right, you know what I mean? We're talking Shinnok, it's this amulet, you know, that cool. You know what I mean? Um, but I still feel like we're just kind of throwing, look, there's a part of me that feels like some of that stuff probably was originally either in the script or maybe even got filmed and just didn't make the final cut. You know what I mean? They tried to, like, re-put things together as best they could to like make it work. But, like, as a whole, here's what's weird about the way that this movie is, and this actually goes back to the first one because I kind of want to go back to just the casting. Because really and truly, the only person in this movie that anybody really, really knows technically is Carl Urban, right? Like, I give you Jax, I give you like Macabre Brooks as Jax from Supergirl. Like, he was in that.
I
But
mean,
other than that, I don't really know most of these people from anything.
Scorpion and Noob, like they're both prominent martial artists and actors, so they're in
Well,
various TV shows
for
and
sure. For
and
sure. But
movies.
like Scorpion's barely in this. Like, you don't even see him until like the last 20 minutes of the movie. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I can't really, you know what I mean? And Noob, who, again, I'm gonna say most people don't know who he is. Two, they never call him Noob. He's not Noob Saibot in this. He's just Bihan. Like, and even if you go to the Mortal Kombat 2 movie website, if you scroll to the bottom of the page, they have posters for every character that's in the movie. They got Baraka, they got whatever. They don't they don't his poster says Bihan. It doesn't say Noob Saibot. It says Bihan. Nobody knows who that is. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of one of those things that's like, introduce the character. Give the name. Say what it is. I mean, Ed Boon's in the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
Like, he's our favorite bartender for whatever reason. Like, just I guess, look, here's the thing. I think this movie is, before I start getting into what I like about it, I need to get all the things that I don't like about it off my chest. I
fire
think this
away.
movie is I think it's poorly acted. I think that the fight scenes, while they're decently choreographed, are telegraphed choreographed fight scenes. Again, with the exception of, man, I'm not that Liu Kang and Kung Lao fight scene. That joint is fire, for lack of a better word for saying it. That joint goes hard. Like, I would,
I take
if
my
they
hat
would
off
have
to
filmed
that
just
scene.
that and put that on YouTube, that joint would be millions of, like, that joint is dope. Every other fight, like, okay, so we just going, so Jack's just gonna get his arms ripped off every movie. That's what we doing.
Yeah, I like.
Okay.
Yep,
Oh, Kano No robotic eye. We just gonna give him an actual eyeball that for some reason can shoot a laser, and we just gonna leave that be. We're not even going like a lot of it is so dumb, bro, and so like just
Like
it.
I feel like for that, like they ran out of budget to get to this like CGI, the metal eye or whatever. And they was like, you know what? We're not going like to the props department and make something to then have to edit visually to all of
Sure.
this. It's just like, all right, we're just gonna be like, all right, he got a magical eye. He said he wanted it to shoot lasers. Here you
Mhm.
go. And that's what that's what they gave us. It's just like, all right, we're just gonna save money. You can still keep your regular eye. We're just gonna add the effect. So we're just gonna cut the
Yeah.
costs.
I mean, look, the Sonya and Sindel fight was okay. Um, but that actress for Sonya is forgettable. Jax again is okay, but more or less forgettable. Baraka, bro, I'm gonna be honest. I hate the prosthetics. I think it looks bad when you laugh and the teeth wiggle. Like it just actually looks like you're wearing foam. Like that just, again, budgetary reasons, you know what I'm saying, whatever it is. Cool, but even just like Baraka like being in love with Johnny Cage, like, oh my gosh, Johnny Cage, you're the greatest, warrior, whatever. Like, I hated it. I think that's super dumb. Um, and I'm again, there are just a lot of things about the the movie and the way it goes, like the tournament part of it. Like, why is Shao Kahn even fighting? Why is he fighting in the tournament? So, just to be clear, Earthrealm has to have 5 fighters, right? There's 5 fights that are
Hmm.
supposed to take place. You can have 5 losses. So, mind you, they still get to keep Johnny because Johnny didn't get killed by Kitana in the first fight, even though she won, because she's secretly working with the good guys, which is story wise, that's fine. It's part of the lore anyway. Like, I'm cool with that. But how many fighters does Shao Kahn have?
Well, he's
Because it's
supposed to
him,
have five.
Jade, and Katana. Sindel.
Uh,
4? Was there another one? Did I miss somebody?
oh yeah. Kung Lao.
Kung Lao, who they didn't have but resurrected to bring
Just
back. Which,
switch
mind you,
sides.
I feel like that happened after the tournament started. But okay, it whatever. I'm with it. Even though you have Shang Tsung and you could have him fight. You know what I'm saying? Or Quan Chi
Quan
and you
Chi.
could have him fight. Like you just, I don't know. Anyway, so we have our fighters. We're short on fighters. I like Shao Kahn personally shouldn't be fighting like he should be the last fight. But he shouldn't be fighting in the middle of the tournament. You know what I mean? And like trying to figure out what chooses who fights and when. It's random, but they never really explain it. It's just like, oh, you got the glow, so you got to go. You know what I mean, or whatever. Johnny opting out of fighting, but then being told you don't have a choice. Why did y'all let him go home then? Like bro, it's so stupid. You know what I mean? To even bring him and just be like, yeah, man, you were chosen. You're one of the chosen ones. And having Raiden try to be like, look, man, the elder gods of all the millions of people on the planet, they chose you. And then just being like, I'm so sad that you're not feeling it and you don't really want to do it. So okay, like if you want to go home, go ahead and go home. Only to have Sonya be like, hey, you realize even if you go home, like you still gotta fight. Like you still in the tournament. Then why are y'all letting him leave? Why would you even open the portal and let him go home? It's so dumb. Just be like, hey,
I
you were chosen. This is what your fate is.
He's
This is
like,
what you
well,
gotta
I want
do.
to spend my last moments before I fight. Like he said, he's just like, I'm gonna do what I gotta do before like the stuff goes down. Cause he in all honesty, Johnny Cage is like a fan, like us watching like the movie, just like I don't believe that like this is happening. Like Elder Gods, like
Sure.
I don't believe in Elder Gods. Like I'm gonna go and if the world is gonna end, I'm gonna go get a drink.
I don't know. Listen, I'm not buying it, and only because I'm like, I get it from being like the perspective of like, dude, I'm just an actor. I don't really do that. But nah, but you were a fighter. Like you fight, and you know how to fight. You know what I mean? I get the whole like, I don't have powers. Y'all pick wrong, pick somebody else. You know what I'm saying, or whatever, and being like, all right, we're gonna pick somebody else. Like again, it kind of is one of those things where like, why would the elder gods, knowing that this tournament is going to happen and has to happen, right? And clearly there was a tournament that already happened that Sonya's been a part of and Jax has been a part of and Cole has been a part of. We waited until the day the tournament's starting to be like, we got to get another person. Like, who's our last person? And the person they pick of all people is
I mean,
Johnny
to be
Cage.
fair, they did say we did have somebody else, but they died. He's
I
like, "Wait, what?
mean,
They died? Yeah, no, count me out. I'm just an actor."
so is the so how much time between the last setup and this setup before we realize like, oh, we gotta go get somebody and we need to get somebody else. And the person we're getting doesn't have any abilities. Literally there's quote unquote nothing special. Well, as elder gods, we know there's something special. Well, nah, let's go get him and let's train him and let's like make sure that he's ready for this thing that will cost us Earthrealm if he's not ready for it. Like it's all dumb, bro. It's all so stupid. The story is so bad. It doesn't really make any sense. The acting is terrible. Katana in a fight, she doesn't, when she's angry or she's really trying, it looks like she's making a face like she's trying, but not really. It's not believable. It doesn't feel, you know what I mean, great to watch her fight anybody she fights, whether it's Johnny or whatever. The effects of like people getting stomped from a ceiling down to something or whatever, they look terrible. It looks corny when somebody flips into, like, it's bad. The CG that they use when somebody gets finished or whatever doesn't look as good as it looks in the games. It's bad, bro. Like everything about this that could be bad about it, anything that you would say in any other movie makes the movie bad exists times 10 in this movie. It's all bad. Story's bad, acting's bad, fighting is bad. It's all bad. Everything that could make a movie bad is bad about this. And yet, it's still such a good time. It's still a good time, bro. But you have to know, like, you kind of have to set your mind at, like, I'm going to watch Killer Clowns from Outer Space right now. I'm getting ready to go. Like, you have to know going in that you're not, when you play the Mortal Kombat games, stakes are high. It feels like the stakes are high. Literally, Earthrealm is at risk. We're talking about, you know, and sure, some comedy and stuff can be thrown in. And again, Kano is incredible, but this doesn't feel like that. It never actually feels like you're at risk of losing Earth. It never feels like the weight of losing the world. I don't think ever actually shows up in this movie. This movie is there for the spectacle of the fighting and the blood and the fatalities, which there aren't very many of. Like, it happens, but like, it isn't egregious, but it happens. And here's the thing, one of the most disappointing things for me about the games, the last few games, has been that when you're playing the story mode, you can't do any fatalities. There's one, and I think in Mortal Kombat X, you get to do one fatality. It's part of the story. There's one
Mhm.
fatality. But in 11, or it might be in 11, but since they started doing the story modes the way they do them, they've made it, because they still need you to be able to use the characters throughout the story, the fatalities don't exist. And that does, to some extent, pull some of the fun out of what we go to Mortal Kombat for. So sure, if you're playing one on one, if you're doing, whatever, then there's plenty of
Yeah,
fatalities. If you're playing the towers, obviously, every time you win a match, you get a chance to do a fatality. But in terms of the story, in order for the story to exist, you kind of have to remove
the
fatalities
fatalities,
from it.
certain characters still need to be around because
Exactly.
it's an overarching world story. It's not just the combat itself. And like since we're now two movies in, like because of the setup of the first movie has limited what they can do in this
Hmm.
movie. So they're trying
Hmm.
to like essentially reboot the first movie and
Hmm.
make the second movie technically the first movie and use this as like the springboard into the possible third movie should they make another Mortal Kombat, which
Hmm.
they could, and by all means um make a third and now make that time time-wise longer and then fully invest in like, all right, the choreography, the effects, like make
Hmm.
everything, tie everything up into a
Yeah.
more believable story. Because that's for the fans of the franchise outside of like the online gameplay and like playing with your friends, it is the story. And
Hmm.
they're every Earth realm is there's a different variation of the same Earth realm. Like
Right.
we're in a whole season. There was a 2 seasons ago in the game where we had different elder gods of characters that were invading. It was the invasion of the elder.
Right. I mean, they basically went multiverse.
Yeah. So it's like y'all you there's plenty of context, there's plenty of things to do, like you, and by all means like I understand why they created Cole as just like, all right, we're going to test out this new character. The concept, okay, we understood the concept of his powers, but the character just didn't resonate because it feels like you were just shoehorning in a character to take a main character slot. If you would have
Yeah. I
had
mean, look,
him
you
be
had
like the
characters
last
like
person.
Takeda. You had Takeda in Mortal Kombat X, which you clearly could have just been like, well, we're not doing Cole, we'll do Takeda. You know what I mean? And he's in that same line. He's, you know, Shirarayu, like that like he's part of that lore, and instead you just kind of make up someone, you know what I mean, and put them in. Um, which again, those are things that I'll hold against the first movie that I won't necessarily hold against this, because I do think there are things they're doing in this movie to try to right some of the wrongs of the first movie, one of which was getting rid of Cole, right? And only having characters that people care about and know that are from the franchise that remain, right? So I think that's a great first step. Do I think that this movie should get a sequel? Not really. Well, here's the thing. Um there's part of me that thinks that based on what the budget of this movie probably was, which I won't know until after the weekend is over and we kinda get, like, box office numbers, but it seems to be doing really well, and based on what the budget was for the movie, they could do well enough to greenlight another one. Whether or not that happens is so up in the air considering all of what's happening with WB and the ownership of NetherRealm, and therefore what's going on with these characters. Like, you have to remember that, like, for all intents and purposes, NetherRealm as a studio that makes Mortal Kombat is owned by Warner Brothers. Yet Warner Brothers didn't make this movie. New Line Cinema did. In conjunction with like two other film studios that are like film studios basically nobody's ever heard of. And then Warner Brothers just distributed it, which means like they didn't put the true money into putting this
Yeah,
out,
behind
right?
it.
This is a property that is yours that you own of all things. Why wouldn't you put a WB logo on this and really put it out there? Maybe it's the camp, maybe it's the violence, maybe it's, you know what I mean? But like WB certainly has stuff that does exist, that does have, a certain level of violence to it. New Line Cinema historically has done stuff that's more violent and a
Mm,
little more edgy and that kind of thing. And so having them do it, and having Warner Brothers distribute it, I guess I get it. But with Warner Brothers being in the turmoil they're in with the whole Paramount buyout and all that kind of stuff going on, what ends up happening to this as a franchise, period, as an IP, is still technically very up in the air, I think. And so, um, this sort of feels like a last hurrah, and I really hope that those things don't prevent it from getting another iteration should there be something possible in the works. But I'll be honest, I don't think it happens. And I think that if it does, it's probably what I think this should have been, which was straight to streaming. I don't actually think this movie should have gone to theaters. Now, having said that, sitting in the theater and listening to this movie, it sounds so good. It's incredible. The audio in this movie is incredible. Um, and I think it's the best thing about the movie is the audio. And that is truly an experience you're only getting at the theater. Like you're not gonna get that
Yeah, the
anywhere
whole
else.
flick of the glasses, like you could hear like the actual like each
It's
individual like
it's so good. Like the Scorpion fight, having him, even though he doesn't do, I mean, I guess he does do the signature and does, of course, he has to say get over here. If that's not in there, then this isn't even a
and
Mortal
that's
Kombat movie.
actually
But
Ed
like,
Boon, like Ed Boon's voice.
I
Like they
know,
was like, okay, we
I
learned
know.
our lesson from the first movie. Here you go,
You
Ed
better
Boon.
get it
Just
right. Um, yeah.
yeah, one
Um,
line.
hearing you can literally hear the scorpion's hook like go from one side to back behind you, and like the audio is incredible. Um, but it's easily the best part of this, and it's not the kind of thing that I personally feel like I could recommend people go to the theater to see this. This is the kind of movie, real talk, that I would generally recommend people wait till it's on streaming. Wait till it's on HBO Max or whatever they're going to change the name to again once this whole merger buyout thing is. I don't think it's worth going to the theater to see it. I think it's worth seeing because I do think it's a good time. Again, if you know what you're going for, and I still think it's a bad movie. Like I don't. The redeeming quality of this movie might be that it's a bad movie. It might just be like there are portions of it that feel like they're not sure if they want to take themselves seriously or not. Right. So like the whole dealing with the Tarkatans and running in and like Johnny Cage fight in that place is all right. Maybe we need to take this seriously. But technically having everybody else just stand around and be like, oh no, you're gonna die. And just be so like nonchalant about it. Like nobody's actually they technically know there's a really good chance he's actually gonna die. This isn't gonna work. And nobody's actually concerned. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh nah, you nah, this is it
Like
for
for
you. Like you're gonna die.
like for Sonya, I understand like Sonya's point of view. Just like I know you can go. Like you're a da 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 champion. Like I understand like her saying you're an actor, be an actor, which is like basically like Yodaing being a Yoda type moment. Is just like yo, like you have the skills, use the skills, but just pretend you're acting, but to use your skills instead of
Which is
just
so
like
crazy to me. Instead of saying to him, bro, you're a champion. Be a champion. You know, like that to me would have made much more sense than saying you're an actor. He was being an actor when he goaded him into the fight in the first place with Liu
exactly.
Kang. You know what I'm saying? You're an actor, being an actor seems completely opposite, in my opinion, of the advice that you should give him.
Double
You
negative.
should be like, bro,
The double positive to equal the negative.
yeah, it's like, what do you mean? And then him being like, I am an actor. What? No, no, what?
Grab, grabs the shades.
Bro,
I'm Johnny Cage
it's
playing
trash.
Johnny Cage.
I am now playing Johnny Cage. I am pretending to be the person that I pretend to be. It's ridiculous, bro. So, like, yeah, that's the redeeming quality of it. Is that like, is this serious, dog? Like, is Earthrealm really in trouble? Like, does it really matter? Do we actually care? Because watching him in that fight and like looking at like Jax and Liu Kang and Sonya, kind of smiling while the fight is happening, and being like, oh boy, you're about to die. It
Out
just
of
like
time,
it
like
takes,
you better get good. It's like the boys get together for like a LAN party, and like you're like you're going to it's like, oh, you're about to die. You better clutch
yeah,
up. You better.
yes. It feels like when he dies, he's not actually gonna die. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like they're treating it like he's just gonna lose. No, but no, dog. Like, they're gonna kill him. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's
And
over,
then
and
eat
then
them.
y'all still can't get into the castle. You know, like, you still don't have a way to get into the castle once that happens. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know, bro. Like, it's just, it's so bad, bro. It's so bad. Um, I don't even want to see it again. That's bad. I'm good. Like, I don't. When it comes to streaming, it's on whatever. Like, I can't even see me turning this on and just being like, let me just put this on and let it rock. Like, I just don't. I'm not feeling it. And it was still a good time, mostly because of Kano. Mostly because of Kano. Bro, listen, they got into the castle and they were like, okay. Baraka got him there and was like, okay, this is as far as I go. Tarkatans are not allowed in the castle. Why do you care that Tarkatans are not allowed in the castle? You know what I'm saying? But all right, sure. This is as far as I go. He bounces. They get into the castle, and then they're like, we should split up. Mind you, as they're
We do.
walking, nobody's sneaking, bro. Nobody is sneaking. They're literally just walking around inside the castle. There's no like, we got to be careful so we don't get caught. There's no like, let's. They split up and immediately
I mean,
all end up
they
in
were
the same
all
place.
they were already caught the moment they entered. Bihan was already in the rafters. Like, bro, like y'all aren't.
But he also
And
didn't
it seems like
do
they
anything.
walked through and like it made it seem as though like they just walked through like the front, like they came in from an underground entrance and then somehow ended up just going through the front doors of like
Correct.
the main. I was just like, okay,
Let's split up.
but
It's the dumbest thing because when they split up, literally within a couple minutes, they're all in the same place. How did they split up and all end up in the same place? All end up in the same fight, and all of them lose. Like, we're just like, it's so, it's very dumb, bro. Like, I don't know how to like. It's so dumb, and again, the fights are bad. So like, the fight that's happening there isn't great. Just take the amulet and go somewhere else with it. But like, we just gonna like, I don't know, man. It's bad. So like,
what do you mean? It was encapsulated in like the rock whatever adamantium structure, and they needed Jax's MacGuffin arms to like open it, pry it open. I mean, hey, you saw Lou use Shao Kahn's sledgehammer. That did nothing. So it.
nah. But clearly Jax's arms are stronger than that, bro. Not to mention that people were picking up that sledgehammer like it didn't weigh anything. Why are you? I don't know, dog.
I
It's
mean, Liu
bad.
Kang
And
is
then
one
like,
thing. Liu Kang is Liu Kang. Liu Kang is Bruce Lee. He can do everything.
hey, dog, Liu Kang's not a god in this joint yet. All right, but then when 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 Jade is like, send me, like, she's the traitor of the movie. Terrible. We know that she's like best friends, technically, with Kitana. Blah blah blah. Her deciding finally, like, I guess I'm gonna go help. Like, they're going to the nether realm. Send me to the nether realm. You go finish off Raiden. All right. And then she slams she slams her pole, and the head of Shao Kahn, which has been on there and they showed it like 5 times in this movie. They made such a big deal about as if
Her
she was
allegiance
under
to
his
Shao
control or
Kahn.
something. I am like dog for real. They tried to make her a Koye from Black Panther. Like they tried to make her like I'm Shao Kahn's like he made me the protector of you, but I serve him kind of thing. Like when Okoye decided like I don't like Killmonger, but I made my deal to serve, you know what I mean, who the king of Wakanda was. So, like I gotta do it. Her whole like oath kind of, whatever. Katana never explains it to her, never says, this is why I was there, this is what's going on. Can't you see that he's whatever? She just sets her up, and then Jade just snitches on her. You know what I mean? And then for whatever reason, for no reason at all, nobody convinced her. Nobody had a real conversation with her. Nobody talked about it. She just says, "Send me to the Nether Realm to protect the amulet." And she slams her staff on the ground, and it breaks, and you see the jadeness of Jade. I don't know why. I don't know for what. There's nothing about that moment that says she just became a good guy. She just tricked them into sending her to the Nether Realm so that she could help the good guys. Nothing. There's
I
no
feel
part
like
of it that's like
like
she
the
had to change
dial
her heart.
like I feel like she had to change her heart due to the specific dialogues between like okay like you're like my best friend, you're my sister, like whatever, like I know you grew up like bad or whatever and you're here to protect me, but I know you always have my back sort of thing. And then the fight with Jax is just like you saved one of ours, so like I'm gonna save you. You have like good people, like you don't have to be this way, you can be a better person.
Yeah, but she betrayed her after the Jax fight. The Jax fight didn't mean anything to her. Like it
Yeah,
didn't mean anything.
and then
Like
he took her away, and it was like I want to chain her up. It's like, nah, you're not about to chain. We don't chain up women around these parts. And then that I feel like that
exactly,
was like the nail
exactly.
coffin.
You're gonna make her a slave. You're gonna chain her up for everybody to see. Like he didn't kill her. Could have killed her. You know what I mean? And it's like she would have been fine with that. Like she knew when she did that, that in all likelihood, Shao Kahn was gonna be like, "You betrayed me. Where did you go? Oh, you went to. Oh, you went to. Oh, for real? You the biggest traitor of them all." And just slit her throat and called it a day right then and there. Because for real, why do I need you? I can just kill you and make you just like Sindel. I don't really need you to be you, right? Like I killed Sindel and turned Sindel into a servant zombie. Then when she died again fighting Sonya, I brought her back. Again, she died fighting Sonya and I brought her back. You could just bring her back and have her fight again. Shao Kahn don't need to fight. This story's stupid. Like we just gotta we just gotta accept it. Like it just is it's dumb. And her just being like, no, don't hurt my mother, who's already dead. Right? Like she's already dead. No, don't hurt my mother again. All right. So you tell him I went to Earthrealm. That's where I was. He don't ask why. He don't say what did you do? What did you tell them? You know what I mean? Like he's just like you traded against me and you helped the Earthrealmers. So I'm gonna put you on display in front of everyone so that all the rest of Edenia will know they better not do what you did. Why wouldn't you just kill her and just put her up there in front of everybody? And if you're Jade, you know that that's a possibility when you go, you capture her, you follow her, and you turn her in. Like you know that's likely what's
Nah,
gonna happen.
in
So
her
all of a
mind, oh well,
sudden,
she's a princess. She's gonna get princess treatment and just be like, all right, I'm just gonna lock you in your room.
I mean, I don't know. The queen didn't get queen treatment, did she? So I'm just saying. Like I just like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
I
You
mean,
see
but
what I'm
even
saying?
the games, he always treated like Katana not the best, but not
I get it.
like I'm going to force you into like being like Sindel, like sort of like in some weird way, like he kind of like it's kind of like a Thanos type moment with like
He
Gamora.
feels
It's just
bad for
like,
her because he killed
yeah,
her daddy and she was a child. Because she told her that her daddy, he told her when she was a kid, your daddy shouldn't have brought you here. Like he shouldn't have brought you here. Like, so now I feel bad. So now you just gonna be you my
like
daughter
you're
now.
now, and he literally says you're now my daughter, and like he
Yeah,
says like
he did.
so like
He did.
maybe it's
I
that
get
sort
it.
of thing like Thanos. So it's
But
just
that
like,
relationship is never established, truthfully. Like, you don't, again, like, we don't build to that at all. You never see any kind of interactions that or whatever. You don't even really, outside of seeing her and Jade train together, you don't even really, you get a better idea of what their relationship is like, or at least what it's supposed to be like, right? But it's not, it doesn't build technically to anything. And him being like, I'm gonna put you up in in the town square so everybody can see it. And then her going and being like, it's not too late. Like, you can still just like renounce and just like join us. But then her being like, maybe the closest thing to her is her being like, he's gonna win anyway. Like, there is no way to stop him because he's going to win, right? Well, maybe that was it. But her attitude about it when she walked away, like, you could have just freed her. like you could have freed her right then and there and be like, come on, we got to go take care of this. You know what? You right. I'm wrong. I shouldn't have done this to you. Let's go fight. Let's go see if we can help the Earth Realmers do whatever it is that they're doing because they're doing something they don't have no business doing. I don't know, dog. It just all kinds of falls apart for me. Yet, still had a good time.
hey,
This movie is
Luke Cage
trash.
has some fire one liners in the movie though.
Liu Kang?
You
Does he
didn't like
really?
I'm the son of like the last dragon, and you're going to like that was a good one liner.
It wasn't, bro. Cause he literally made fire dragons that didn't do anything.
I mean, he had God mode though, but that's
It
the, like
it
that shows like the mat like Liu Kang being like serious, like I'm going to kill you, and by all means you should be dead.
sure.
But the
But
but the
but but
point like
truthfully,
his point.
but truthfully, no better than having his throat slit 4 times. They used the same move on Slim to kill him 4 times.
But they didn't chop his head off though.
I'm just saying, your choreography, your storytelling, like, what, that's the best we could do? Run him through. You know what I mean? Like, somebody bite a hole in Slim and let that whole thing heal back or something. But just the quick neck slit. Oh, okay. Well, he healed up again, and then another neck slit. And oh, well, he healed up again. And then even when it could have been to that point, and she like jammed her fan into the side of his neck, and slit his throat, and he should have been dead because at that point, technically, he's mortal, and he still was choking her to death. It was very reminiscent of watching Invincible. You know what I'm saying? Like, just she could have just been there getting her guts pulled out, trying to get him to die. Like, it's just bad, bro. It's bad. I still had a good time. I still had a good time, but it's bad.
Choreography between Shao Kahn and the King of Edenia was pretty. It gave me that the Game of Thrones type vibes from the Scorpion and the Hound. Was it the Hound?
Sure,
I think it's
it's
like
not
it
bad.
gave like it was a
It's not
decent
bad.
like opening choreography. I feel like it set a pretty decent like fight tone of what to expect in the movie.
It does. It it should set the precedent for what the stakes are for the rest of the movie, but it kind of doesn't because it feels like they never really take it seriously again after that. And it's almost like when Kano's like, nah, man, I'm with you. Like, have you seen what everything looks like here? Like, it's all dirt and rocks, and like, I like girls and burgers and cookouts. Like, I'm trying to like, I don't want this. So like, I'm on your side, which also is kind of like, why do we do that? Like, Kano technically should be through and through a bad guy. Like, he just should be. And again, being
They
all
literally
for
made him a
himself in some
sellsword
way.
in the movie. They made him a sellsword. It's like he does. Well, he is an actual sellsword, but like he's always normally sided on the evil, the bad side, because
Yeah.
the payout is like okay. And in one of his endings, he literally has Sonya, her daughter, like he's literally like essentially a king, and
Yeah.
like has all of these like MK female characters or and whatnot to live out his
Yes.
fantasy.
Yes. Which is, I mean,
So
again, it's not completely out of line with who his character is because there's no payout for this, right? Like just following Quan Chi and being like, "Hey, dog, I want my eye back and I want the amulet." Like you took that amulet out of my pocket, which again, at least Jade did what I
acknowledge
was
like
thinking.
we didn't even have to bring you back. We could
We didn't have to
just
bring him back, which again is like, why didn't they just go ahead and kill him then? The joint was just in his pocket. Like, just y'all brought him back and nobody thought to tap his pockets just to see what, like, I don't know, dog.
y'all
That
not
joint's
real
dumb.
thieves.
Not at all. Um, look again, I'm at like a 4, but it's like a fun 4. You're at still at a 6.5, 7.
Yeah, I'm at a 6.5, 7. Like
All right, cool. Then give me
like
your final
I
thought.
final thoughts is music score was really good. The sound quality of like if you see it in theaters and IMAX, you're going to like really enjoy that sound. There's
Did you
really
see it in
good
IMAX?
visuals. Yeah, I saw it in IMAX.
Okay, okay.
There's certain visual elements that you're going to like the Kung Lao Liu Kang fight sequence on that stage is immaculate. That's probably like that's where the budget went. Is
That's
that one
exactly where
stage?
the budget went.
You can tell the budget went exactly there, and I'm all for it because that's one of my favorite stages in the game. So
Sure.
like in the effects of Kung Lao's hat, like all the budget went into that entire sequence, and I'm
Hmm.
okay with that. So like they kind of take the formula from not like the Matrix, but like that one like they have that one really good fight scene in a movie. That's what
Hmm.
they put all their budget into, and I feel like that
Hmm.
is a really good place to put it for the constraints that they were under and what's going on. So, like, I won't say like see it in IMAX. You can definitely wait till it gets on streaming to watch it. But if you just want to just have a good time, like just a good time movie, I would say I would recommend it.
You think
And
people should go
if
to the
you're just
theater
so
and see it?
happen to be if you just so happen to be drunk and you go see it, you're really going to have a good time. So
Yeah. Yeah. Look, again, I can't personally recommend that people go see this in the theater. I won't do it. I don't think it's worth the money. I think that if you're maybe at home and having a few drinks and you just want to have a good time kind of watching it, I think if you're a fan of the IP, then maybe. Because again, it's fun, but you need to know going in to throw every bit of like seriousness out the window. Like you're going specifically like you're going to see a B or a C movie like on purpose if you decide to do this. So um again, I'm it's very difficult for me to recommend that you go to the theater to see it. It's actually kind of hard for me to recommend that you watch it on streaming. But if you're a fan of the franchise and you know the characters and you kind of want to see a bit of redemption from what the first one was, then you should at least watch it. That's where I am on it. Um, so a 4 for me, a 6.5, 7. Pick one. What are you, 6.5 or 7?
I'll give it like 6.5, six and a
Okay,
half.
a 4 for me, a 6.5 for Marcus. Those are your grades as the spoiler boys. This has been your spoiler boys for Mortal Kombat 2 2026. I want to thank y'all for hanging out, for watching, for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. We're out. Toodles and lose. Loading snacks.